You make loving fun. It's all I wanna do. You make loving fun. It's all I wanna do. You make loving fun. It's all I wanna do. You make loving fun. It's all I wanna do. Hi there. My name's Jillian. Welcome to the channel. Wait, does this look like a mop? Damn. Hold on. Yeah, new hairstyle. I don't know. It's kind of different. Makes me feel more feminine, but like at the same time, it's kind of raggedy. I need to work with it, and I'm very lazy with everything, so it's okay. We'll get through this. So I have another video today, another vlog about la voix, my larynx, my voice, the whole voice, which really, the voice is not just the larynx, it's the whole bodily sensation of making sound. So, you know, with the body, mainly with the larynx, it's the main apparatus, but still your whole body's engaged. You know, your breath, your gut, your throat, your larynx, you know, even your face can affect how you sound. Like if you constrain your face, you know, that can affect how your entire body manipulates itself or coordinates itself to create sound. As a trans person, voice has been something that has been a recurring theme in my life and on this channel as a main thing to grapple with, especially as a musician who, you know, knows some things, but also is exploring things, a lot of things relating to music. It's hit or miss, I suppose. But mainly the voice has been my my struggle in performance, in execution of anything musical. There's also stuff about, like, you know, rhythmic accuracy and you know, musical conciseness, as I like to call it. But that's not the focus today. Today's focus is loving your voice and being kind to it. I struggle with this topic because, well, it's hard for me to love my voice. It's just something that has changed through the years so much. And right now, it's very different from how it was, say, 5 years ago when it was way lower. And I'm capable of making that sound still, but I'm not going to make that sound because I've been trying to, you know, deprogram my voice from being able to, basically. Which sounds kind of weird, but considering I'm a woman and, you know, as a trans woman, this is kind of, you know, something that might be my focus, might be my concern. It makes sense in that context, right? The thing with loving something is that you have to take it as it is, no matter what. You can't love what it will be and claim to love it. That's false. And with the voice, it's the same thing. You can train all you want, but you have to love it as it is. You have to love what it's got. And, you know, I have this kind of sultry, low voice right now, you know, and I'm kind of satisfied with how it's coming out today. Sometimes it's kind of thicker and I can't really do much with it. And it's actually hard for me to make that that sound that I revert to when I'm nervous. You know, it's just kind of like more full throaty and kind of can't go up very high, you know, in speech. Kind of constricted almost. Kind of tense. But this one's kind of working. And like, you know, it's kind of interesting that, you know, my very voice can change so much, so drastically when, told you I'm lazy, when, you know, just because I'm nervous, it can revert to a more masculine presentation, you know, and I feel very natural right now, honestly, you know, so it's kind of interesting that happens. For me, range has always been something that I've, you know, kind of veering even away from the whole gender dysphoria aspect. It's been something that I've, you know, fallen in love with as well as envied in my voice. You know, I don't think I have a limited range, but sometimes I misapply it. I've often misapplied it, in fact. you know, sometimes I'll just be too camp with my voice, and I pardon myself for that, because I know that a lot of it is exploring my voice as it newly is. But you know, it can be a bit excessive to be like, whoa, 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 you know, all the time. You know, there's actually a video on here that I was like, own your voice. I literally go from like bass, baritone to soprano the whole way through, and you know, it's like, it wasn't even that soprano sounding, honestly, at the top. It's kind of, you know, it was more throaty and dark, so it was kind of a mess. It's still on the channel, but it's a mess. But yeah, range, hard to believe, but in high school, senior year of high school, I was typed as bass in my choir. 2 years prior, I'm pretty sure I was a tenor. Tenor 2 probably, but you know, by senior year, I was a bass. I had a bass 1 or bass 2. And, you know, I could sing down to E flat 2, and I could barely get out anything past D4, E flat 4. You know, if you're wondering for reference, E flat 2 is an octave below the note Do, and E flat 4 is the octave above that. Do. I'm not singing E flat 2 because, like I said, I'm not going to let that happen. But I didn't have a proper mixed register, which is like so key to range, you know. That's all mixed, you know. It's elongating the chest register, elongating the chest muscles rather through the CT muscles, which are the head voice muscles. You know, kind of pulling the voice upward, so it sounds so it resonates more lightly, and thus can resonate at a faster frequency. And I didn't have that availability to me that very much. Or at least I had it changeably at that time in my life. Like I said, my voice has gone through a lot of evolution, and can be difficult to know where it's going to be one day or the other, because I had to change it. It's had to go through male puberty, had to reverse it from male puberty, had to accept it amid male puberty. It changed kind of like twice during male puberty, where I had like 2 voice drops. And, you know, I mean, exploring yourself through that is very difficult, especially considering there was a lot of peer pressure on me to only sing low, as opposed to singing, you know, very high and stuff, as I liked to do. I wasn't necessarily good at it. I was changeable at it in terms of capacity. Many of the notes you hear now, I even had back then, but just in different quality. And that affected my capacity to really, you know, sing. And what is singing here? Singing is the expression, is expression through the voice, you know? By expression, I mean, well, no, that's kind of vague what I just said. Singing dictionarily is, oh, come on. Singing in its most basic definition is the creation of music through the voice. It is the utterance of melody or harmony through the voice. And has a tonal capacity and all that stuff. And singing, more spiritually speaking, it's almost like prayer, right? It's like you're expressing yourself in ways beyond words. You're letting your spirit emanate through your voice, which in many ways is, you know, tantamount to the soul, right? You know, it's literally what you hear. It's how you express your words, your ideas. Thus, you know, it's, in some ways, it's more essential of you than your face, you know, and your body, you know, as a whole. So yeah, when you can't relate to your voice properly, it becomes an issue existentially, you know. It becomes a real, it's hard to deal with then. Oh dear. get this eventually. And I think that oftentimes people, including myself, don't understand that singing is supposed to feel good and natural, and, you know, it's supposed to bring peace to the person singing. It's supposed to bring catharsis to them. It's not a chore. It's not, it's more an art than a sport, you know. It is a sport. It involves at its fullest level, you know, a sort of endurance and energy and all that stuff. It's exercise and it's cardio. But it's supposed to be expressive. It's supposed to be, you know, not something to convey skill with. Oh my God. But it's supposed to be something that, more so at least, it's supposed to be something that conveys spirit with. You know, when I sing, say the song, I wrote a song once called Clover here. I'll skip to another clip. It goes like this. Am I still young? Perhaps just enough. It's never too late. It's never enough. It's never enough. Am I still strong? When life gets worse, I never saw feet till it wrote its verse. And now I've grown terse. Like, in that, I'm conscious of what I'm doing technically, but, like, I'm also trying my damnedest to connect to, and letting my damnedest to connect to what the words mean, what the melody feels like, you know, very sentimental, almost melancholic, bittersweet, you know. It's about, you know, questioning whether to keep faith when so much of life is past, you know. And that is expressive. It's a profound thing. You know, anyone who's lived long enough has come to question, am I still young? Perhaps there's still a chance for me. You know, I never knew the distress and destruction in my life would come until it had already. You know, all that stuff. And singing it is like bringing it to full form. It's like to paint with sound to paint with sound a sort of painting of your own thoughts and feelings. You know, bring it to full stereo. I'm not much of a poet today, it seems, but you get what I mean. Who am I kidding? I'm always a poet. But, like, to revel in that, you know, it's taken me time to be able to, because I spent so much time modifying, you know, and, you know, whistling, all that stuff, you know, trying to get everything available to me vocally, you know. And, like, at some point I have to recognize that, like, you know, I will not be Mariah Carey or whatnot. I won't be Whitney Houston, you know, might not even be Lady Gaga, you know. You know, you have to sing with what you've been given, and you have to find what you can, what will fulfill the truth inside sonically, however which way. But to turn it into some sort of exhibition of what you could be, you know, that's like betrayal almost, you know. That's hard, you know? I mean, I think the hardest thing for me has been finding my voice, you know, vocally speaking. It's been finding what is me, you know, and some might say, some pedagogues might say, oh, it could be anything you wish. The voice is very malleable. Some will say you're destined to be this, and you're just kidding yourself, you know. And somewhere in between is me, and like there is so much that I've had to learn vocally in order to allow myself to sing freely. Because it doesn't always start out freely, right? Sometimes you have to decalcify yourself, so to speak, in order to sing properly. And and also, like, what was I saying? Look, I'm not saying that I or anyone has to relegate themselves to like a simple voice type or a minimal like 2 octaves or so, you know. There should definitely be room for exploration, for sure. But anyone who sings has to come to grips with the fact that you're given a canvas as much as you're making one, you know. You don't always have control with the voice. You often do, but there's also things that are not in your control or that transcend your control that you kind of have to make peace with, or you have to make the most out of. If you have a husky voice, you can explore past that. You can explore different textures. But also, you don't have to always feel like you're, you know, fighting that, you know. There seems to be this philosophy in the trans voice community nowadays that you can basically have any voice you want. And I don't know if it's so. Because maybe theoretically, yes, you could turn that cartilage into anything. It's still cartilage with, you know, cricothyroid muscles, thyroid muscles, and a full vocalis muscle to make use of. But your voice is beholden to so many different factors, you know, it developmentally and environmentally and habitually and socially, that you will be a product of something, basically. Like I said, the voice being, you know, tantamount to the soul, just as that. You know, just like the soul is influenced, and just as it influences itself, as it influences other people, you know, it can't always be controlled or harnessed or manipulated into sounding a certain way just to appease the user of it. At some point, I have to be happy with what I have. I can't always seek to augment when I can sufficiently express. I grapple with that a lot because I have often feared that my true nature is that of a bass baritone and I'm just hiding away from that. Not necessarily true. My voice is quite healthy right now, and I, you know, don't have to go to the basement. If I even was a bass baritone, honestly, it's quite debatable because there was a lot of range to have that I had back then, and there was a lot of variability in my texture vocally. But beyond that, it's an understandable fear. It's not necessarily one rooted in full reality. But you have to sing with what you've got. It's basically the core of this video. And I'm saying this to myself, I'm saying this to anyone else who's struggling, and any trans person who's struggling with their voice. You know, singing, speaking, you have to let it out, you know? Can't always be like, you know, going for the tweet voice and all that stuff. You know, I mean, there's value to practicing that for sure. I mean, I think that I wish I could speak more oftenly the way I speak right now without getting nervous about it in public, where I, like, you know, enunciate past the facade like I just did. You know, it's happening very naturally right now, and, you know, that doesn't always happen. But I think letting go and being casual has allowed that to be the case in this video for me. It's allowed me to have vocal freedom, to enunciate, to intone the way that I feel naturally I would. Because oftentimes there would be like a disconnect between how I feel I would express myself vocally. Like I'd probably, like I might be like, hey, how are you doing? And instead it goes, hey, how are you doing? And kind of just constricts downward. Hey, how you doing? You know, and suddenly I can't speak properly, you know, or hey, how you doing? You kind of, I might garble the words, and it doesn't come out properly. And I think a lot of that is nerves. Just garbled a bit just now. I think a lot of that is nerves. There has to be room for the voice to fail and room for it to succeed. There has to be room for it to fail in order for there to be room for it to succeed. It's not always going to be perfect. It's made out of flesh and blood, you know? It's not a machine. Wow. So yeah, there I have it. I can sing. And so can you. Even if it, you know, even if you don't sell out stadiums. The point is authenticity, letting it out, being passionate, being controlled. It's kind of a dialectic. And, you know, trusting it, not obsessing over it too much, where it could be. Loving your instrument, loving your technique, and loving your instrument enough to teach it what it needs to know. And not loving it enough to trust that it knows what it does. So that's what I think. And, you know, you can tell me more about what you think about that in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram at Shy Extroversion. That's ShyExtroversion. And I encourage you to subscribe, to like this video, and to comment, and even perhaps share if you'd like. So, yes. Thanks for watching. And yes, I know, I'm still learning.